Good day once again. I welcome you again to Simplified RSA, the guys who makes it looks easy. To make sure you become prepared whenever you are facing with that exam, that homework, that classwork. So we are your number one learning channel, all in all, whereby we do previous question papers to get you ready to can tackle any type of question that you may face in exams when coming to mathematics or physics. Now, before I start today's question, right, I want you to know that whenever you are presented with a question, should it be paper one or paper two? And suppose you can tell from looking at the question what type of a question is it going to be, whether should it be exponents, whether should it be trigonometry or whatsoever. When coming to the maths, or the actual application of your question, don't limit yourself as to what you know based on the chapter that you are observing on that question. So what I'm trying to say is a good mathematician is one whom, when presented with a question, they look at that question based on all the maths that they know in the world to approach that question. I'm saying this because on our question today, let me present the question. Here is the question as usual. If you look at the question and analyze the question, if you already know the difference between paper one and paper two, you can tell that on this question, there is some analytical geometry going on, of which grade 10, grade 11 students, or grade 10 as well, they may think of this as a question that was extracted from paper two. But no, this question was extracted actually from paper one of grade 12 student, but also it is applicable for grade 11 student as well. Without wasting time, I'm going to go through the question and we're going to do the answers together. But before I do that, I want you to know that I will divide the question into two parts. So we're going to have two videos, whereby the first video, we will discuss 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3 because it is more of the algebra that is needed in paper one. And then I'm going to do 5.4 and 5.5 on a separate video. But keep in mind, I'm just doing this to make sure that the videos are not longer than usual. But all in all, there's nothing hard there. At the end of the day, let's analyze the question as perfect as we can, such that it would be easy for us to can tackle each and any question that comes after. Fine. So here is the question presented. We have the graph of g of x is equals to 2x plus 6. And we can see from the diagram there, g of x. And we have g of minus x in an exponential form there, meaning it is the inverse. And we are told that graph of f of x, which is equals to 2x plus 6, and g of minus x, the inverse of g, are shown in the diagram below. Furthermore, d and b are the x and y intercepts, respectively, of g. So d is the x-intercept of g, b is the y-intercept of g. C is the x-intercept of the inverse of g, the g with a negative exponent 1. And the graph of g and its inverse intersect at point A, as we can see there. Now, 5.1, we have to write down the y coordinates of b. 5.2, we have to determine the equation of the inverse function in the form of g of minus 1x is equals to mx plus n. And then 5.3, we have to determine the coordinates of A, right? Without wasting time, let's go through it. So for 5.1, everyone can see there that this is small waters. We have to determine, or rather, we have to write down the y coordinates of B. And B is from the function of G. And we are given that G of X is equals to 2X plus C, which is a straight line. What do we know? We know that we let y to be 0 to get the x-intercept, and then we let x to be 0 to get the y-intercept. So in this case, to get the value of the y-intercept, I have to get when x is equals to 0. So I have to get g of 0. So g of 0, come on, man. You can see there that g of 0 is 6, meaning y is equals to 6 for my g function. And if y is equals to 6, to represent a point, we know that a point is represented as y, as x and y like that. Meaning the coordinates of b is going to be x is 0. When x is 0, y is 6. So b is 0 and 6. Easy peasy, right? And because it's only one mark, you can tell that you don't necessarily have to think that hard. That's how easy it is to get the y coordinates of b. Now, look at this. 5.2, we have to determine the equation of the inverse function, g to the exponent minus 1 of x in the form of a straight line, meaning in the form of y is equals to mx plus n as given there. Now, here's the thing. Whenever you are required to determine the inverse, you don't panic. If you need an inverse of any function or any given graph, what you do is you just swipe the x and the y-axis. So in the place of a y-axis, you write the x-axis. In the place of the x-axis, you write the y-axis. And then you make y subject of the formula of that equation again to look like its own kind of an equation, which is now the inverse. I might not make sense by saying this in words, but then let's do it together. This is what I mean, actually. So to answer 5.2, this is what I'm saying. Originally, the function of g is given like that. If the function is given like that, clearly it means that y is equals to 2x plus 6 because g of x also represents the y-axis there. And to get the inverse, whenever you have x and y, to get the inverse of this function, all I need to do is just to swipe around x, I put x where there's y, and I put y where there's x. And then I make y subject of the formula of that function. That would be the inverse. And to get that, obviously here I would have x minus 6 is equals to 2y if I take the 6 to the other side of the equation to make it make sense. But to make it like a perfect equation, let me rewrite it like this. Here I didn't do much. If 6 minus x is equals to 2y, this is the same as 2y is equals to 6 minus x. But then I need y to be subject of the formula, not 2y, meaning I'm going to divide by 2 throughout. If I divide by 2 throughout, I'll get that y is equals to 1 over 2x minus 6 divided by 2 is going to be minus 3, meaning the inverse of g is going to be represented in this form, 1 over 2x minus 3. Without even hesitating, we have got our correct answer. Again, easy peasy. Now, for 5.3, we have to determine the coordinates of A. And we are told that the graph of G and its inverse intersects at that point A. But regardless of the information that is given to us, we can see from the image itself or the diagram itself that point A, it's where the two functions g of x and its inverse are crossing each other. So if the 2 points are crossing each other at point A, clearly we can tell that g of x is exactly equals to g of negative x. I mean g of negative 1x. So the functions are equal at the point of intersection, exactly as it is. What we need to do, if we can see that g of x is equals to that, and we know that g of x is equals to 2x plus 6, and we know that g of minus 1 to the x is 1 over 2x minus 3, we can tell that 2x plus 6 should be exactly equals to what we have on the other side. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I will solve for x to get the values of x at that point. Then I think we can be comfortable with using one color. I'm going to arrange the like terms with the like terms and the constants with the constants. So Swapping this around, I will have 2x minus 1 over 2x is equals to minus 6 minus 3. So if I take the 6 to the other side, it's going to become minus 6. If I take the 1 over 2 to the other side, it's going to become minus 1 over 2. But this 2 is disturbing me because now I have a fraction. Now, to normalize this, I'm going to multiply by 2 throughout this whole thing here. If I multiply by 2 throughout this whole thing, like there are many ways to approach this. I can treat this as a fraction of itself. Actually, let me not assume that students understand something like this. Let me do it the traditional way. So now, suppose here I have minus 6 minus 9. Minus 6 minus 3, I will have minus 9. And then for this one, I'm going to quickly do it separately here. I will have 2x minus x over 2. This is the same as that. And to solve this, lowest common denominator is 2. This one is over 1. How many times does this goes into that? It goes twice. 2 times that is going to be 4x. This to this goes once. 1 times that is going to be minus x, meaning my answer is going to be 3x over 2 because 4x minus x is 3x. So I will have 3x over 2 like that. So 3x over 2 is equals to minus 9. And then from here, I could have said 2 times the entire thing here. I would get 4x minus 2x minus 12 minus 6, whatever value it may be, it would lead to the same answer. But that's not the problem. If I have this one here and I need to solve for x, meaning I have to make x subject of the formula, I know that this is over 1, obviously, and then I will have to cross multiply to normalize this. I'm explaining this because I don't assume every student understand, but for those who understand, you can go ahead and try to solve for x and see what answer are you going to get. But at the end of the day, 3x times 1 is going to give me 3x is equals to 2 times minus 9 is going to give me minus 18. And then if I divide by 3, I divide by 3 both sides to solve for x. This will cancel that, and then I'll get that x is equals to minus 6. Now, in this case, it means the value of x for the point A. Now, for the point A, remember, don't forget that we represent a point in the form of x and y. And then for the point A, the value of x is minus 6. Therefore, I have to get the value of y for the point A to complete the whole scenario. And to get the value of y, I take that value of minus 6. Either I substitute it here on this equation or I substitute it here on this equation because I equated the equations to be equal. Whether I substitute minus 6 here or I substitute minus 6 here, you will get the same answer anyway. This is what I'm going to do. I will take this equation and I want you to use the other equation to make sure you get the same answer as me. So I will use this one. I will get g of minus 6. And g of minus 6 will be 2, where there's x, I put minus 6 plus 6. Therefore, this is going to be 6 minus 6 will give me minus 12 plus 6. And minus 12 plus 6 is equals to minus 6, meaning both x and y is minus 6. So point A is minus 6 and minus 6. But I want you to try to substitute the value of x on this equation to see if you will get minus 6 as well. Try that and put your answer on the comment and tell me if you got the same answer or not. So like I promised, I said I'll do this question into 2 parts. So now we've answered 5.1 to 5.3. This is the end of the first part. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please follow us in all our social media platforms, and feel free to inquire about our private lessons. We offer private lessons at a very reasonable fee. You can send us a WhatsApp or an email and on any of these contacts here. At the end of the day, we are here to assist you to make sure you get your exams right. I'm Mr. Maimane. This is Simplified RSA, and we are the guys who makes it look easy for you.